The Apple Silicone Case has a pretty big red flag, but like all red flags, if you ignore it, you're going to be pretty happy with this product. Because I'm a reviewer, not an influencer, for the iPhone 17s, my scoring system is based on what the iPhone actually feels when it hits the ground on its corner, on its face, as well as on its camera lump. Every case in my video gets dropped at least 30 times, so when I say it's terrible, it's because I've got the data to back it up. That's how I, as a reviewer, figure out which one's going to be best. I'm planning on reviewing 50 cases in the next few weeks to find the best 5, so let's get started with this thing. Here's an interesting nugget for this product. Between the iPhone 17 and the 16 version, Apple redesigned this. When it comes to design, there's a lot of colors for you to choose from. When it comes to weight, this thing weighs 35 grams, which is not a lot. The old case also weighed 35 grams. Now, in terms of bulk, this case isn't going to add much to your iPhone. In fact, it's one of the smallest cases in my collection, adding only 45% extra bulk to your iPhone. It's like nothing's there. Almost. The handling of this product is superb. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Apple has figured out the perfect texture when it comes to silicone cases. It's grippy enough, but doesn't have that really sticky, tacky feeling that other products have, which means it's very pocket friendly and yet still handles very well in my hand. When it comes to accessing your iPhone, this thing has integrated buttons, which I'm not a big fan of. The camera control button does float. One of the things I've noticed for iPhone Air cases is that for the camera control button, it's not a button anymore. It's just a piece of plastic. All right, let's talk about MagSafe strength. When it comes to pull, it takes 7.5 newtons to pull a MagSafe accessory off the back. When it comes to pushing, it takes 10.5 newtons. You're not going to have any issues using MagSafe accessories with this product, but these values are actually 13% lower than the average case that I've reviewed. All right, let's talk about how well it protects your iPhone. Now, I technically consider this a 1-layer case, but in reality, it's actually 2 because you got a thin layer of rubber over a polycarbonate back. When it comes to the corners, this case has a corner thickness of 1.8 millimeters. And when it comes to the back, well, it's the same as well at 1.8 millimeters. Here's where things get interesting with the old version. The corners of the older silicone case, they are a little thinner than the iPhone 17 version. It's only like a fraction of a mil difference, but yeah, cool. Now, when it comes to iPhone drops, the rigidity of the case is actually very important. In my back compression test at 8 millimeters, this thing compressed at 41 newtons, which is 50% above the average case. Just by that metric, this tiny little flimsy looking case is actually going to do very well in terms of protection. When it comes to corner drops, the initial impact recorded on the iPhone 17 was about 9.5 Gs. That sounds pretty terrible, but out of the 16 cases I've tested so far, it's actually 8% better. Now, because of its thin and rigid design, after it hits initially, the energy gets stored into the case and it actually bounces around a lot. I call this bounce time, and for this product, it was actually 50% higher than average. That's not great, but because the initial drop of the case was so good, the total force absorbed by this case is actually 9% better relative to the 16 cases I've tested so far out of the 50 I'm going to test. Next thing we're going to talk about face first drops, which is where this product kind of fails a little bit. The case edges on this product are incredibly shallow, so it's great for usability, but when it comes to protection, if you're using a screen protector, when you do this, that's the sound of glass hitting the table, not the case. The flex isn't bad, but because of the low clearance, that really doesn't matter. How about protection for the camera lump when that happens? For the camera hump, it's about 8% better than the average case I've tested so far. There's a polycarbonate ring around the camera cutout, and so this area is actually quite stiff. So it's a little jarring for the camera lenses during a camera lump drop, but it's pretty good. That's all I got for this video. The next case I'm going to be doing a deep dive on is this Apple Tech Woven case. My initial impressions of the Tech Woven case were pretty overrated, I think, because the results I saw for this product, especially when compared to this tiny silicone case, wasn't as spectacular as I thought it would be. Protection-wise, handling-wise, still amazing. First time watching my videos, I do encourage you to click subscribe. I'm a reviewer, not an influencer, trying to find the best products for our tech. Again, I'm testing 50 cases to find the best 5. Keep checking back to my channel to make sure you catch number 49. Thanks for watching.